Okay, and that brings us to special report number 1, and I am going to turn it over to Dr. Donahue, who I know can talk much more eloquently than I can about your incredible 3-year achievement and the 27-year history of this program in our district.
Yeah. So Chris called the high school the crown jewel of the high school. I suppose if there's a program that's the crown jewel of the crown jewel, what's the biggest jewel in the crown? I don't know. But whatever metaphor you want to use, this is it. But I know for students, you know, once you get involved in a program, it's not anymore, when you're applying to it, it's science research, much as it is when you're applying to a college, and then when you get there, it becomes the experience. Once you're in the experience, it's not everything that you imagined. It's often quite a bit more drudgery and hard work, particularly in the area of science research. And I think the rewards are not what everybody outside thinks they are. You know, the rewards often have to do with what you learn about yourself. And I say that from experience because I was principal when Dr. Pavlica really got the program going full steam, not when he founded it, I'm not that old, but when it was going full steam. And one of the things I learned from the students at that time, and I have no doubt that it's still true, is that everybody gets into it with a certain amount of trepidation. I want this thing, this wonderful program. I want to be one of those students. I'm not really sure what that means, and when I get into it, I find out it's not what I thought it was. And when I get into it, there's often a certain amount of fear. Can I do what these guys and girls before me have done? And the biggest thing is finding out that you can. And I think that is a lesson that is, to say a lifelong lesson is an understatement. So recently at a conference where they pointed out 2 things about college admissions, which is on everybody's mind here, of course. And the 2 things they pointed out were your SAT scores are predictive of how successful you'll be in your freshman year of college, and after that they don't mean anything. The college that you go to is predictive of almost nothing. What is predictive? 3 things that you've done. Finding an interest doesn't even have to be a passion. Finding an interest that you commit to over a long period of time. Working at a single project and achieving a successful end. Not necessarily winning a prize, but achieving success and finishing it. And having a mentor. If you have any one of those 3 things during college, you're likely to end up a highly successful person. What's remarkable to me is you have done all 3 of those things by the senior year of high school. I know this doesn't make complete sense to you right now, but of all the kids in the country, you have less to fear going into next year than anybody. You'll go in with fear because that's the kind of people you are. It's part of what drives you to be successful. But you've already got a really good handle. If you can reproduce these things in college, and I'm not talking about doing a 3-year research program, I'm talking about working with one of your professors in a way outside of the classroom that's meaningful to you, where the professor's a real person, working on a long-term project, and taking on a challenge and finishing it, it puts you at the highest degree of chances for success that are possible, way beyond what college you go to or how well you score. So for that, A, congratulations, and B, thank you, because you are our crown jewel. Yeah. Thanks.
I just want to, I say this every year when the science research students come, so this is the 17th time I've said it. Unbelievable. The science research program at Byram Hills was passed by the Board of Education by a vote of 4-3. By one vote, the universe opened up to you. And people say you stand on the shoulders of those who come before you. You really do. You really are standing on the shoulders of all the Byram Hills students that participate in the Authentic Science Research Program with Dr. Pavlica, who we remember very fondly. But you've really been blessed with this pedigree of a program that is really one of the envies of a program in the nation. So we hope you've exploited it as best you could, and we look at what's been done. I can't wait to hear the titles, most of which I won't understand. But congratulations to each of you, because you make yourselves proud, your families proud, and you make the school district proud. And that's all really we can ask from those of you under the age of 21. So congratulations to each of you.
And I also, want to thank, teachers that put this together, and they're there for all these kids. You guys are phenomenal, and I actually know this firsthand now because I have a sophomore who's going through this process. So I know at least what you guys experienced the first year now. And this really puts what we do here into perspective, why we do what we do. I said we're going to be talking about the budget afterwards, and it's this kind of stuff that this is tougher funding, so it's great to see the fruition of what we do here when we're pushing numbers around and all that. This is what it's about, so thank you. And I want to read to you what the certificate says that we're going to be giving each of you. It has your own names on it, but it says, on behalf of all the residents of the school district, the Board of Education presents this certificate of excellence in recognition of your outstanding efforts in scientific research, particularly in your senior year. The example and commitment you have demonstrated as a scientist and a researcher will benefit other students, staff, and the entire community. So, incredible. So,
Good. So our process is going to be this. Mr. Kaltenecker, Dr. Kaltenecker is going to call your names. When your name is announced, if you would come up behind the table, and then our president, Ms. Glett, will present you with your certificate. And then if you would sort of slide around here, we'd like to try and get a picture of the entire group at the end. So we'll do a huge semicircle from that door all the way around. All right? That's it.
Okay.
Dr. Kaltenecker.
I'll start. First name, Akil Arvadi.
The other thing we'd like you to do when you get up here is tell us the, just tell us the title of your research. Give you a choice of the title or a brief description.
The regulation of non-coding RNA fender within idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. What I essentially did was take a strand of DNA and test how it works within a certain disease that affects the lower respiratory system.
Willow Balin.
I like those shirts, by the way.
congratulations. You stand right here and tell us.
My study was assessing the use of multiple choice questions to improve performance on a final test. Thank you.
Zachary Beinecker.
My study was the use of the CRISPR system to mutate the cuticle color of Aedes aegypti and Anopheles stevensii. I used a gene drive editing system to change the skin color of mosquitoes.
Sayla Barenblum. Sayla was also an Intel semifinalist.
I used a 3D computer modeling program to simulate the interaction of two emergency contraceptive compounds to understand their mechanisms of action on the progesterone receptor.
James Bremner.
The title of my study was Silicon Drift Detector, Size and Location, Its Relationship to Accuracy in Quantitative Energy Dispersive Spectroscopy and Analytical Electron Microscopy. And what I did was I repositioned a detector on a scanning electron microscope, and by doing so, increased the collection efficiency by over 400%.
Kevin Chang, also an Intel semifinalist.
title of my project was Determining Resistance Mechanisms in Mantle Cell Lymphoma, the Search for Therapeutic Targets to Combat Acquired Resistance to Apoptosis. And what that means is I studied how cancer cells develop resistance to chemotherapeutic drugs.
Alana Cohen.
My study was called The Correlation Between Eating Disorder Knowledge and Disordered Thoughts/Behaviors in High School Students.
Sarah Priscilla.
My study was titled Decoding the Neural Underpinnings Behind Brightness Perception Using the Simultaneous Contrast Illusion. What I did was use an optical illusion to determine whether the brain or the eye controlled brightness perception.
Sarah Zeiner.
Thank you. My study was behavioral testing utilizing object in place and oddity memory recognition tasks on maternally infected rat offspring exhibiting schizophrenic-like behavior.
Lexi Draper.
The title of my study was Determining Brain Reward Circuitry Under Dopamine Agonist-Antagonist Medication in Anorexia Nervosa, Bulimia Nervosa, and Healthy Controls.
Eric Eisenbiegler.
The title of my study was Analyzing Dendrimer Uptake in Healthy versus Injured Microglia Cells, a determinant for proper dosage and uptake.
Jolie Feldman. Jolie cannot make it this evening. Amanda Glassman.
My study was substantiating the performance of lipstick and mascara through instrumental evaluation, a study of mass market prestige products.
Also, he could not be with us this evening, Ryan Infante. Micah Jane.
Hello. The title of my project is Real-Time Rotation Invariant Phase Tracking using an enhanced Viola-Jones phase detection algorithm and an optical field feedback system. So essentially, I adapted a phase detection algorithm to efficiently track phases under a real-time setting, and I added a component to track rotated phases.
Marissa Kaplan.
The title of my study was An Analysis of Canine Sensitivity to Staphylococcus aureus, a novel diagnostic tool for identifying biofilm. And what I pretty much did was train dogs to detect staph infection.
Miriam Lax could not be with us this evening. Those congratulations. Victoria Legravenese.
I studied correctional officers' attitudes towards solitary confinement and their enforcement of solitary confinement within correctional facilities. Thank you.
Kirsten Lee.
study was determining the relationship between personality and bystander responses to bullying.
Zach Lev.
My study was the impact of age and games played on predicting points per minute for shooting guards in the NBA. Lou Williams is a top 5 scorer.
What about CJ McCollum? Did you check into him?
No, I couldn't do that yet.
Next year.
Gregory Marinaccio.
The title of my study was The Effects of Hypnotherapy on Individuals with Anxiety Disorder.
Julia Markowitz.
My study was on how the interactions between learning and teaching styles affect academic achievement, utilizing the active and reflective component on the index of learning styles.
Alexandra Maltner.
The purpose of my study was to determine if the gender composition of residential summer camp had an impact on the social and self-development in preteen and teen girls.
Did it?
Yes.
All right.
Ariel Milowicz.
The title of my study was Correlating Apparent Self-Reported Levels of Stress and the Presentation of Child Symptoms. Does severity of pediatric bipolar disorder play a role in levels of parent stress?
If you could just scrunch from that end.
Otherwise, it'll be in the hallway when we finish.
Natalie Morley.
My study was understanding the relationship between a schizophrenic and their primary caregiver using objective and subjective burden variables.
Jared Oken.
My study, or the title of my study, was evaluating the improvements in the StarCraft gameplay of the ABL agent iSpot by implementing dynamic specificities through an external component. In other words, I gave an AI the ability to adapt to failure, and then I had to play a video game.
Alex Pfeffer.
The title of my study was Tumor Gene Alterations in MSTN, GDF11, INHBA, and FSTN, and decreased survival in ovarian serous adenocarcinoma.
Dominic Rowan, also an Intel semifinalist.
The title of my study is Determining the Frequency of Jupiter Analogs and the Announcement of a New Jupiter Analog Orbiting HD 32963.
Mackenzie Schmidt.
The title of my study was Using an Insider and Outsider Research Perspective to Understand Post-Traumatic Growth Following Severe Traumatic Brain Injuries in Teens and Young Adults.
Lindsay Siegel, also an Intel semifinalist.
My study was Genopolitics, Determining the Genetic Basis of Political Behaviors and Attitudes through Twin Studies.
Ryan Singer.
study, I created 2 devices that could detect excessive tooth clenching through non-invasive techniques.
Pranav Solanki.
My study quantifies the difference in projected fuel efficiency between a wingtip and a wing extension geometry through the Vortex Lattice Program Tornado.
Trent Stafford.
My study was comparing the roles played by New England Cottontails, Psilogus transitionalis, and Eastern Cottontails, Psilogus floridanus, in the human empathic landscape of the Hudson Valley.
Sarah Tang, also an Intel semifinalist.
My study was examining the role of STAT6 in altering the gut microbiota with Colitis monis bullous infection.
Emily Pantliff.
The title of my study was Investigating Ultrasound-Guided Embryo Transfers and Their Outcomes Through In Vitro Fertilization Procedures.
A little more squeezing.
Haley Wiener.
My study was on using the GAD-7 as a prognostic tool to find the association between generalized anxiety disorder and Enneagram personality type.
Bailey Winston.
My study was sabermetrics, the importance of advanced measures of player performance in building a successful Major League Baseball team.
And last but not least, Garrett Wolf.
The title of my study was investigating the interaction between lumen-positive fibroblasts and pancreatic cancer cells in 3D culture, and what that means is that I took a look at the interaction between a particular cellular element in the tumor microenvironment of pancreatic cancer and cancer cells, and I studied the resulting effect when combining the two in 3D culture on the growth of pancreatic cancer.
Really not last, and certainly not least, Alex Worm.
My study, thanks Garrett. My study was on assessing the effects of hypoxia and inflammatory cytokines on the immunomodulatory capabilities of mesenchymal stem cells, which essentially means I use proteins in the immune system to make stem cell treatments more effective for things like stroke and ischemic heart disease.
Could you all, just for 1 second, just look over here?
I would like to just pass a little bit of a message to these incredible students, and that is that I would hope, and I'm certain that you do, appreciate all the work that your parents have done to sort of help you get to this point. It really is all on you, but it wouldn't have happened without the help of your parents from Hey John. So go home, thank them, and then be really proud of the work that you've done. It's really amazing, and we're proud of you. You make the district look good. You make us look good, and really enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of the year, and congratulations.
4 tired people I would like to recognize. The 4 instructors for this program do a quantity and quality of work that is difficult to value, except to say that it's invaluable. Megan Salamone, Stephanie Greenwald, Jim Gulick, and the leader David Keith. Turn to my friend David for a final word for tonight. It doesn't have to be one word.
I used to always have something prepared to say, and then for a couple of years I wasn't asked, so I stopped.
Did we catch you?
And you caught me. This is a remarkable senior class. Looking at all of you from the back of the room and thinking of the individual stories with each of you and your accomplishments, and watching you now and remembering how you looked, acted, and behaved, and what you knew and didn't know only a little over, not even 3 years ago. It is an incredible thing to look at a sea of adults who are all, every one of you, accomplished and poised and ready to go on to the next phase of your life. This is an honor for me to look at all of you. Really fabulous. Congratulations.
On June 1st is going to be the symposium, correct?
Yes.
So community, if you're able to, please come to the high school on June 1st. You get to hear from all these wonderful kids about their research, as well as the juniors and the sophomores as well. So it's a really incredible evening. We look forward to seeing you all there and seeing you all then at graduation. And can I see a show of hands of who's going to be 18 by May 17th?
Who's 18 already? 18 of May.
Who's going to be 18 by May 17th? Okay, so here's the... What?
Not checking IDs.
No, but what I wanted to say to you, you're all eligible to vote in our budget, so just come by Crittenden from 6:30 to 9 o'clock on May 17th. You don't have to register to show ID if you're going to be 18 by the time, please, because it supports programs like this.
We expect you there. We know who you are.
You're on camera raising your hand,
So vote.
Yeah. Congratulations,
Thank you.
everybody.
Take a
Great.
Permit me one other comment. I want to acknowledge, and she's going to kill me for this, Megan Salamone, because she came in from the English department to teach science research, and I know that she came in with a certain amount of discomfort. So she was stretching, as she knew that all of you as students would. And I have to say, we couldn't have had a better person join us. I didn't know how it would work having someone come in from the English department. I'm so glad that you were a part of this week now, and watching you work with the students you have has really been a joy. So thank you.
Next year, we're going to have David teach a course in poetry. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much, and we really appreciate you coming out tonight. We hope your senior internships are off to a good start, and we will take a 5-minute break, so you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting unless you really want to, because we're talking about the budget. It's really exciting. Thank you all for coming.